And to your point, when you add all the furnishings and setup cost on top of a rehab or a value add type of a property, they can work out great, but there's a lot of capital that you're putting up front, right? You might put 10% down, but you might have 3 or 4 times that on the back end. And, and all of a sudden it's like, man, can we do all this stuff? And I love value add properties. You kind of got the best of both worlds where you could phase into with the land that you were able to pick up with it. It's like, hey, listen, the property itself, I don't have to do a lot of value add to the property. I can hit the ground running. It's turnkey. I can start getting some revenue coming in, and then I can phase into a value add where a lot of times, a lot of value add properties, this being in the business you're in, we don't have the luxury of waiting. Sometimes we just have to do it, right? They're deferred maintenance properties. They're
Exactly.
out of date. They need the updating. This is a really nice situation where you can phase into that value add when the time is right, which makes it a lot of fun.
That's right. I mean, I kind of learned you really have two different budgets. I mean, if you're looking at both these turnkeys and kind of rehab properties, I mean, you have two totally different purchase price budgets, right? Turnkey property, you can finance everything in there, right? And set it up with minimal cost and kind of get it moving. So, the bank is paying for 80% of your stuff or whatever your financing terms are, where the value add, they're only paying 80% of your purchase price. And then the rest of it, I mean, essentially you got to come up with it. So wide range of prices there. And so, I'm talking to some of the people, they're like, I don't understand. You're looking at this property one day, that property the other day. Like, it seems kind of random. I'm like, looking for a good opportunity here.
Yeah. And it does kind of sometimes seem random. Somebody was having a conversation before we jumped on the podcast with somebody, and they were like, okay, I've got X amount of money. How much property should I buy? And I'm like, there's a lot of it depends, right? I mean, if it's turnkey, we're buying this much. If it's not, we're buying this much, right? Our budget sometimes cuts in half if it's not turnkey, right? And it's a massive difference based on the capital you have available of what types of properties you're going and looking at. And you can look at different types. You just have to know that, I might be qualified for $1 million property, and I can get the financing for $1 million property, and I have the down payment for $1 million property. But if it's not turnkey, I don't have the finance, or I don't have the budget in the bank, the cash available to bring it up to speed. And, or if it's a value add, I might be looking at a $500,000 property to bring it up to speed, right? And so based on my capital available. And so it is a wide range. I'm really glad you brought that up, because it's like, why would you look at $500,000 properties up to $1 million properties? It doesn't make any sense, right? Well, it does when you understand on a value add the capital available needed on the back end to bring these properties to life. Now you can walk into instant equity, which is nice, right? But it's a lot more money on the front end, and I'm buying less of a property.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So we got into this one, and I made the offer that week right before Thanksgiving, and there was one other offer on the property. So I think I came up and just full asking price, close in 30 days. I was doing a debt service coverage ratio loan. So that was my financing product, 80% on that. And they went with my number, or my offer. We did the inspection. Inspection didn't turn up anything that concerned me, and kind of continuing down the due diligence path. And I started learning a lot more good things about the property. I found development plans for the rest of the 10 acres. It's a 10.5 acre property. I don't think we said that. So 10.5 acres, it's an existing house on the front end of it. So that takes up about 1.5 acres. So there's about 8.5 acres on this thing. It kind of rises up as incline, looks west into the sunset. Really cool property. So, there was development plans. The town had approved it a few years before that. So I talked to the engineers that did that plan. I started learning more about the town. It seemed the town was making the area more walkable and investing in, some of the infrastructure of the town. And so just kind of all signs that everything's kind of on the up and up in that area. And really the more I'm learning, the more I'm just like, this is great. I'm all in on this thing, and just started loving it more and more.